Good thing I'm not paid to do this stuff. This is free. This is a free service to all of you, and it's a lot of fun playing video games and bullshitting with people online. Hello, everybody. This is a little short video for you all today. Hi, friends. I wanted to first of all, GOG.com has re-released the original Resident Evil trilogy, which is something that people have been clamoring and asking for a while now. I think we had access to it on the PS3, and I think they may have re-released Resident Evil 1 on the PS5. But people have been wanting it on Steam for a while, so this is as close to Steam as we've gotten so far. It's on GOG, and GOG is great. I have a couple games from GOG. Let's see, what else am I got Nox from GOG, and Neverwinter Nights 2 is on GOG. The rest of these are Steam games. But let's check out, finally, today, Resident Evil 3. I bought the bundle back when I got the PC in July. I got Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, I played quite a bit. I did this on the day Resident Evil 2 came out. Well, Resident Evil 3 just dropped today. I was expecting it to drop this weekend. I thought it would have dropped on the 29th, but I'm not one to complain. Now, when Resident Evil 2 came out, I just did this. I went, hey, Resident Evil 2's out. I'm going to be playing it this weekend, blah, blah. I'm not streaming this weekend, so I am going to play this for a minute because I am very, very fucking excited for, I love these games very much. These are my favorite video games, so I'm very excited. Let's jump into story mode for right now. Mercenaries is great. Now, some people... So good. Now, some people weren't as into Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. I would say Resident Evil 3 was a bit shorter than Resident Evil 2. But they took something from Resident Evil 2 that was really cool, in my opinion. I really liked the Tyrant stuff with Claire's campaign, or with the second run or whatever. So I feel like they did a really good job of taking that, and then, wow, this looks great. And they took one of the best parts in Resident Evil 2 is the city part, right? When you're getting to the police station, and they put you out in the city. Like, you have to be in the city, and you gotta survive this thing that's following you. And I don't know, man, it's so good. And it's funny because the things that people complained about with Resident Evil 3. That's a problem. GOG. Okay? I love the intro to this. Who's she wearing? Ooh. That's hot. Fuck you, zombies. That's pretty cool. I like it. Okay. So when Resident Evil 3 came out, I think it was 2000 or 1999. It came out like a year after Resident Evil 2. And the difference between Resident Evil 2 and 1 they were drastic. They were big, right? Because they canceled the original Resident Evil 2 because it looked a lot like Resident Evil 1. And they went, we can get a little bit better with this game. They didn't do that with Resident Evil 3. Looks a lot like Resident Evil 2, but I still feel like the controls were a little bit better, and they really upped like the intensity of it, the situation. I feel like Resident Evil 3 is a lot more intense of a game. The cutscenes are a little bit better. Is Resident Evil 3 better than Resident Evil 2? No. Resident Evil 2 is like my favorite video game ever. Like, if I ever made a video game, I would make a game that was very similar to Resident Evil 2, right? So Resident Evil 3, if Resident Evil 2 is my all-time favorite game, and Resident Evil 3 is more of that, as a kid, I was so excited. And so, as an adult, Resident Evil 2 Remake came out, right? And then they did Resident Evil 3. And people weren't as stoked on Resident Evil 3 as they were on the Resident Evil 2 remake. And we just kind of repeated what had already happened. People were like this with Resident Evil 3 when it originally came out. I don't know if people remember, but people were bitching about it being like a continuation of 2. We did that with the remakes, right? Resident Evil 3 came out and they're like, it's missing shit. This is an incomplete product. Blah, blah, blah. And then the Resident Evil 4 remake comes out. And then back in the day, Resident Evil 4 came out, and those were very well received games. So what I'm nervous about is they might do Code Veronica. I think they're going to do Resident Evil 5 remake, and it's going to be Resident Evil 5 over again, and people are going to bitch about that. So it's just, we're just repeating history, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Resident Evil 2 remake was great because it's a remake of a really good game, and Resident Evil 3 I enjoyed it the same way I enjoyed this. It's a continuation of what I already liked, but it's not as freaking great, you know. It doesn't do better than Resident Evil 2, right? Resident Evil 4 you could say was an improvement on that series because it was a new game. They had a lot of time. They were doing other things and they did the remake of 1 and all that shit, and they did 0. But when Resident Evil 4 came out, it was something new. It was like, wow, they're not zombies anymore. They're fucking smart. So it's like, we're kind of just going through the motions that Capcom already went through, I feel like. So me personally, I love Resident Evil 5. I'm cool with Resident Evil 5. So I'm excited at the idea of them doing a remake of that. But I'm telling you right now, not everybody's going to enjoy that game.